Hey everyone, it's another video on AI in real estate. Today we wanted to talk through tenant exposure and how you could build your own agent. We'll show this actually working in real time here inside of our application, but again, just really more provide information on how this could work, how this does work, and how you could build your own in case you are interested in doing so. So for those folks unfamiliar with tenant exposure, it really is like based on if you have a series of properties and large tenants have leased them out, what is your exposure to companies like Nike, Starbucks, or McDonald's in your portfolio in case something was to happen to them? What would that impact be to your investments? So, you know, really trying to dig into how this agent works or how this the best way to build this is, you're gonna have your data over here, your property management systems, and the first thing you want to do is one, you want to query that and get a set of data out, which is, your list of your tenants. And you usually want to rank and sort these by the rent they pay, the area, when their leases are expiring, because you probably don't initially want to pass everything off to the agent because there is an API cost when you call these, and this is a complex agent. So again, there's a series of calls. So really, this could get pricey. So you do want to send, probably the top 50% or the top 25% of your tenants through. And what the agent's essentially doing is the first thing it does is it actually creates, it takes in a structured master prompt, which again, if you saw our last video, creating master prompts that are very structured are super important. So you get the same output out every single time. So that way, if you have structured outputs, you can build other automated processes on top of it rather than letting the LLM kind of come up with an answer, which would be different every time. So when you have your list of tenants, you call the AI agent. It creates a structured master prompt, and what it's then doing is it's then concurrently running a series of web searches, right? Because we're looking for data out there on that tenant and getting a lot of structured information on there based on evidence and ranking it by, when the article was posted, when it found it on the internet, and doing a lot of scoring on it. So once it gets all that information in, the second step is, it starts compiling it and it starts scoring the results. So certain things are, going to be weighted differently, and as this grows, you'll want to continue to build out the model to score correctly and rank these things correctly as well. And then you have two things that the agent's going to do. One is going to return the results to your screen, so you can sort of see a huge breakdown of what it found on the internet and other sources. And then two, you want to build the agent to then take things and find things that were scored poorly or that are high risk and kick that over to your asset management. This essentially replaces the ability for somebody coming in and looking every morning on news on PR Wire for any risk. This will automate that. You could have an alert on your inbox every night on properties or tenants that you might need to be worried about. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at this in action. And we're going to come back to this, right? So what I did is I just Googled, companies that have filed for bankruptcy so you could sort of see how this works in real time. This was a couple of little earlier, so this article may not be in the internet. You find stuff. But again, we'll come back to, more future use cases later. So essentially here, you could build a tenant exposure tool. You're going to want to accept the tenant name, and you could go ahead and click get tenant exposure. And what's happening here is it's running the agent behind the scenes. So we have a couple of these. This is doing deep research, so it could take a while. So we'll go ahead and kick off McDonald's, and then that CareMax Medical company that I had never heard of, but apparently they filed for bankruptcy in 2014. So we're going to go ahead and run that as well, and we'll go take a look at some of the results that it's come back with. So here's Starbucks. There's a company overview, and again, this is structured results. So every result will have the same format coming back. So credit rating, financial health. It's pulling articles that I found on the internet. This we're going to probably upgrade this in the future, but what's actually in the results that is the link and the citation. So again, if this comes back, you're able to dig into where the information was found. Stock performance. You're gonna have stuff around news and events that it found, the real estate footprint around some information around its leasing, industry trends. You're gonna have recent leasing activity that's found. So here's some information about a large lease that they signed they signed in 2024. If there's any legal risks that the people have, that have come up in the news. So there was some union debates here, And then, any red flags or opportunities. So, lease terminations, right? Then some agreements, which allow Starbucks to exit leases. There's some risk there. And then opportunities, obviously, they are always growing. And what we do then is also let the agent and they'll come up with a score. So, here we have on this Starbucks, it's a pretty low risk. It's a 20 out of 100, nothing to worry about. Same thing, we'll run McDonald's. I won't read through everything here, but really, you're going to see stuff around the same structured output. And, what are we doing here? And this one was scored also a 20 out of 100. So let's go to the Care Max one that filed for bankruptcy. And you'll see here, it didn't find some information on credit rating, but it did find that it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, stock performance, some information here that was being delisted. And we go down here to the red flags, right? So we got the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the asset sale, and it's rated as an 80. So I'm not sure where they are in their life cycle, but again, if this news had hit today morning, the agent would have access to the internet and again would be able to bubble this up so you can start planning. Um, and that's our quick update and demo on how to build AI agents for tenant exposure. So hopefully this is helpful.